All right. 11:05 Central Time to kick this party off. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We are so thrilled to see you all. Let's spotlight you, Nicole. Say hello.
Hi. Oh my God. I feel so already just seeing all of your faces just makes me feel so much better. So welcome. Thank you for coming. We're so excited to have you. We've, had a little pause, but here we are again with I think we just needed to see each other. So I'm just, refreshed already.
And I would say we didn't pause. We were very busy, but the HD stuff where we got to see you kind of like we had some what's happening to the world moments. And so we wanted to bring you all back together and find out what's really happening in the world out there and some of our favorite locations. We're all able to join us today and we cannot wait to hear from you. So I'm going to unspotlight us. We're going to put us in gallery view because we want to see everybody. And we just wanted today to be a conversation. So we want to pepper you with questions and we have some prepared, but we want it to be a conversation where you guys ask each other what's going on in your worlds. So the big question on everyone's mind, and the only question I'm going to ask that could even slightly be construed as negative is, what's the status of your borders right now for people coming to your countries?
Anybody?
Renato, how's Switzerland?
Yes. I'm the first one to open the floor. So as you can see, I'm still in Montreux on Lake Geneva. And Mr. Freddy is still with me, as you can say, just behind me.
Yeah.
The statue of Freddie Mercury, yes, is still there. So it's a little bit different since we last met here on the shore of Lake Geneva. Things are a little bit strange here in Switzerland, simply because, of course, we have a general government, but we also have the country that is divided in 26 cantons. So every canton can somehow change the rules.
Yeah.
But events are still possible. We can still go up to 300 people. We can still go up to 4. Of course, all health and safety, distances, masks are completely compulsory everywhere where you go. But you can still organize physical event, as long you have distances and so on. Okay. So unfortunately, for the moment, only Swiss people can travel around Switzerland because no one can travel from outbound into Switzerland, at least very, very little. But we are there. We have everything in place. This used to be the Christmas market. As you can see, it's totally empty. Ooh. So that's why I said at least you have one reindeer.
I love it. Thank you, Renato.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Lisa, how's your country doing? You're muted, unmute.
Yeah, well, I'll be going back to my country next Friday. I'm going back to the States. I'm going to spend a few months because not much is happening here in France. Besides the fact that literally 2/3 of the country is now under curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. It's pretty much the whole country, so which really doesn't affect me much. I'm in bed by 10, but a lot of the youngsters are complaining. In terms of events, look, it's kind of the same story all over the place. The numbers are going up. So there's in Europe, a lot of restrictions are being put into place to try to cap it and to control it. But in France, the school holidays started, I think last week. So, a lot of people are out traveling anyway, just to get away. But, I've got to say that it's much better than the lockdown, of course, because, during the day, you can still go to restaurants, seating outside. I mean, but I've got to say it was Karina's birthday last week. So we met for drinks and a lot of people are sitting inside restaurants. I'm not very comfortable with sitting inside restaurants, but definitely to go out and to sit outside, have a drink and have a lunch, then, that's fine. And the stores are still open. So, as they say in this part of the world, il faut faire avec. You just have to, deal with it and just kind of get through it as you can. But as far as events, zero.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Beatrice, how's it in Colombia? I saw Beatrice. Did I lose her? Oh, there she is. You're on mute. You're on mute. Unmute.
Sorry, guys. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
We're actually open. We're open to everyone.
Okay. Amazing.
Yes. So we have, of course, all of the protocols, the PCR negative test with the 96 hours advance before coming, has to be negative, but no quarantine. We're not asking anything. Ours are opening every day more and more. No, we're habilitated. So right now we have a lot of national tourism going on, but we're open to international as well. So we have some of those going on as well.
Yeah.
And events, we can do events up to about 150 people.
Okay.
It really depends on the setup and the spaces now with the new protocols.
Okay.
But our numbers are going down. Like we spent 6 months closed in, full closed at home, going out only 1 days after.
Right. Oh, goodness. That's so great. Thank you so much, Beatrice.
Yes.
Let's see. Elena,
Pleasure.
in Spain.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello to everyone.
How are
Hello.
you
Let me
doing?
remove the mask because here the mask is something that is compulsory. So everyone needs to wear the mask. So I'm going to remove because I don't have anyone close to me. So this is why I'm here in Seville. I just came to spend the weekend to visit my parents. So this is why I decided just to come to this beautiful landscape. I want all of you see. This is Plaza de España. It was an exhibition in 1929. It's incredible. Look the weather. Sorry about that. Sorry that I am not wearing a jacket. Sorry about that. But 20 degrees Celsius. It is like 70 Fahrenheit degrees. And here in Spain, apart from the mask be something part of our outfit nowadays, the restriction depend basically on the region. So some regions they have, like for example, Barcelona has decided open the bars and the restaurant for 2 weeks. Madrid just decided to open the restaurant, but they close the entry to the city. So that depends basically on the regions. But Spain is also open for everyone. So we have all the measures for events according to the COVID. But that's true. Like we are now like more focus on digital event and no physical event because still people don't really want to come here to organize events, and we are just focused on the national client who is meeting like in small groups, or maybe they are organizing something in their offices. So step by step, and that's it. We are like that over here.
Incredible.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Val, how's Argentina doing?
Here we are. Hi, everybody. We're slowly starting to open up. I mean, literally regular flights started this week again, both within the country and international. But you have to have a really good reason to be coming. You have to justify travel. We're not open to tourism yet. Events, nothing, zero, unfortunately. They're only allowing gatherings, sort of family gatherings out in the open. Restaurants are only open outdoors, like most other places I'm hearing. The good part is that we're in spring and going into summer. So we have the good weather ahead of us. So that makes it a bit more cheerful. All the past few months where everybody was out in the open and sunbathing, we were stuck inside freezing. But there we are, hoping for the best, trying to take care of ourselves, and waiting for things to start normalizing somewhat, at least.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Ida, how's Turkey?
Hi, everybody. We're also in our second wave, but Turkey never closed borders at any point. We never went into a full lockdown either. It was more like limitations. And Turkey actually had a good tourist season this year. We still had like over 15 million people come in. So it's a weird one. I mean, the government has chosen a strategy of like, try to keep the hospitals not so busy and, wait for a vaccine kind of a approach. And everybody seems to live that way as well. We do have some groups, mostly domestic, but also like some like we work with the Turkish tourism ministry, and they're bringing in like bloggers and whatever, and some domestic travel, like going around the country with kids, outdoor events and things like that. So there's stuff going on, and we don't have restrictions on events per se, but you can't do like celebrations. You can do business meetings and things like you can't do a wedding. You can do a wedding ceremony without drinks. So it's a weird way, but we're somewhere between the Europe and the Swedish model somehow. Okay. But the wave and winter is coming, so I'm very jealous of Argentina that they have a nice weather coming in now.
Oh, amazing. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to put everybody back on gallery view. Are there any destinations I missed that joined? If so, unmute and say hi. I think I got everyone.
I'm not Hawaii, but I'm going to Hawaii and Ari's there now. So I can tell you we're going to have to test before we go, 72 hours with positive tests. They'll let you in. The only island that doesn't apply to is the Big Island. You have to quarantine still there for 14 days. And they opened up Inner Island too. They closed it again, but now you can also go Inner Island.
Okay, so. Cool, thank you.
Welcome.
So my big question for the destinations is, over the last 7 to 8 months, and as we're looking in the future, have you changed your marketing, the messages that you're using, or who you're reaching out to right now? Has that changed for you? I'll just let you all come off mute and answer.
Yeah, I can go if you want. Yeah?
Yeah, go ahead, Elena.
Yeah. In our case, as I mentioned, we are now like focused more in national clients because they had the events for 2020 and we are helping them with the Christmas or with their event to go to digital or helping with some experience, even if it is still digital. So with deliveries and, be close more with our national client, but we continue looking for the groups at the end of 2021, 2022. So we are starting to receive like some business for the future, and we are just improving and keeping the contact with our client and giving new products and offering news about the destination. I think it's important that we maintain this kind of relationship because the physical event, they are going to be back and we need to be ready, waiting that the countries can travel to our places. So that's what we need, not just they can just come here and the measures and everything, we are ready for that event. But we need the government to allow them to come here and we need to be ready in the meantime.
Are you offering virtual events? And then if you are you marketing them, or are you just responding with virtual events when requested?
Yeah, both of them. Actually, we are supporting helping the clients how to transform a digital event, a physical event in a digital event, because the objective or what they want to achieve is completely different to get from a physical to a digital. So this is something that we are helping them, like giving this kind of consultancy to them. And also we are helping them if they don't have this support technology-wise, we support them with the partners or with any application that they need, what is the best way to do the meeting, or if they are going to be in the office, how we can manage everything with the speaker to be sure that they are going to be connected. So yeah, we are in the middle of this new era of digital, just jumping in the train and just continue with this new era while we wait for the physical again. That's it, that's what we need to do now.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, thank you, Elena. Beatrice, I saw you unmuting.
Yes, actually, so we're solely MICE agency, so we're still marketing ourselves to the same clients. That hasn't changed. We've changed how we market ourselves, our products, more innovative, more destination for smaller groups, more nature-oriented activities and such. But the clients no, we've maintained the same range of clients, extending it, our proposals and offers as well to the local corporate market.
Mhm.
But otherwise, we've maintained our corporate clients.
And I know you've invested heavily in virtual events. So are you actively
We've
marketing?
invested in virtual events as well. Yes, we try and keep Colombia relevant and available to anyone who does want to interact and discover a little more of it virtually. And yeah, we're still waiting. So because we're open, we have some requests for events starting from November this year onwards. So we are hoping to get going soon.
Awesome.
With a more physical aspect of things.
Sure. Yeah. That's amazing. Anyone else? How's your marketing changed?
Oh, I'm taking
Renato.
the floor. Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a little bit the same as Elena, because working for the same company, we have similitudes. So we have been investing a lot of time and marketing in everything which is digital and phygital hybrid.
Don't say it, Dave. I just saw Dave cringe. He said phygital.
Phygital. Yes. We actually did a big event. We launched the new fragrance from Bulgari that was supposed to be phygital, but it turned completely digital, and it was a great success.
Mhm.
But the good thing is that we are starting to receive RFP for 2022, 2023, and 2024,
Okay.
which is I know it's a long term, but it's great, and the numbers are there. So it's very let's say it's very promising. Definitely. 2021 is going to be a little bit challenging, like anyone else here around in our industry, but definitely 2022, up to 2022 to 2023, it will be absolutely great.
Yeah. Okay. So for all the rest of the destinations, what's the split now between your inbound requests and you having to focus on outbounding? Are people actively inbounding for those future 2022, 2023s, or are you having to go find those leads? Open question.
Hello.
Hey, Rod.
Yeah. Well, from a global perspective, of course, because I'm not representing like one specific country, we're doing about 100. But we see an uptick. We see an uptick of outbound requests from specific countries. Activations still happening though, also in the US, even though there's a lot going on here. But we're not actively reaching out as we've done over the last couple of weeks, months, more on keeping the relationship going and keeping the conversation going. But we're actually now getting more outbound requests, so it's positive.
Okay, that's great. Anyone else?
I'm fine. I'm not a DMC, so literally all of my clients are from the States. And from what I hear from them, because everyone's still working from home, nobody really knows at this point. You know, they're doing their all virtual events in-house as they can. And some are even doing drive-in movie type events with cars and things like that. But, you know, in terms of what I do, I mean, there's really not going to be nothing. I mean, I'm not really marketing myself for digital events because it's really not something I do. And a lot of my big clients, they do all that in-house.
Right.
But I am working with a partner actually out of the UK, and they're developing a new platform, probably in competition to Zoom, that's going to be a bit more interactive, a bit more sexy. So I'm waiting to hear information about that. And if I get it, I'll share it with you all.
Amazing. Awesome.
And
Thank
Lisa,
you.
sorry, I just wanted to share something with Lisa. This is exactly what we have done. I mean, people were starting to get tired of simple Zooming, simply, you know, doing very simple homemade conference or meeting. So we helped them to enhance a little bit the experience by helping them to monitoring, to do the session moderator, and to put a little bit more fun. And this has worked very well. So maybe this is something that you can try from your side as well.
True, true. Well, you know, I have a broadcast journalism background, and I quite liked when we were doing the virtual reality thing a few weeks ago with Unrestricted Hotness. I mean, that's kind of going back to my base. And I think if that's kind of the future, to get into more producing, you know, live events like this, it could be an exciting niche. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a question in the chat. Are you guys seeing a difference between in-person incentive behavior that's worldwide audiences versus single audience? Patty, do you want to explain that a little more?
Sure. Sorry. I'm curious if you're seeing, like, if an audience is from a worldwide group, so it's multi-country versus just a US group, for example, coming to Italy or Turkey or wherever. Are you seeing the behavior of those worldwide groups actually shifting out till later or even canceling?
Well,
Hi.
I'll answer that. I'm not sure if I'm stepping on anybody's toes. But regarding Argentina, we saw, we handle only inbound because we're a DMC, and we had a steady level of RFPs all these months, but suddenly at the end of September, October, it started slowing. Our point on this is, I think that as the US and Europe are going into a second wave, everybody sort of froze and said, oh, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen. Everybody was sort of focusing forward 2021, 2022, but now it's slowed. And regarding digital events, yes, we are marketing them slightly, not 100%. We're offering also virtual site inspections for groups that had to postpone or groups that are interested. We are offering that in wherever possible. Not all our destinations are open, not all hotels are open, but you know, we're doing what we can to keep people interested, because if not, we're in a problem. And regarding multi-destination groups, we are having some, but mostly we have single destination, you know, groups traveling together. So that's how we are.
Beatrice?
Thank you. Yeah, so it's I'm a DMC as well, so only incoming. We're very strong on the European market, so of course that the requests from the European market have practically stopped for the time being. Long haul is not really being looked at least that's what a lot of our clients are telling us. So I imagine with multicultural groups coming from many destinations, that would be one of the issues. There would be countries that wouldn't be able to participate, and would make it a bit more complex to organize these multi country incentives. What we are doing is we are marketing Colombia for companies for them to select it as a destination and to offer small groups incentives within Colombia, and the clients get to choose different regions. So more personalized, more specific to their desires. So we're hoping with that trend to be able to get them coming, but it would all be coming from one country instead of many facets. However, requests from the States still keep coming in, and we're very happy about it. So do come.
Yes.
Do keep us in mind.
Awesome.
Dave,
Okay, so
something to jump in there with?
who were you passing it to, Nicole? Sorry.
Did Dave, I think you.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to give some perspective from the internal planner. I think we're fortunate that our executive team understood the importance of an incentive and didn't just cancel it. We still spent probably 35 to 40% of our original budget on gifting, doing like we did an unboxing with people together. We had an international crowd, and we did much to some creative borrowing from this awesome group, some virtual or digital experiences in different countries for the unboxing. So we went to Mexico and it had everyone learn how to make a margarita with their new shaker and glasses. And then we went to Hawaii and everyone learned how to make a spa scrub with and put on their Four Season robes that we sent them. And so I know they're already talking here at my company about doing our company kickoff in the summer of next year, and then renting a jet to then tag on to that and taking people for the incentive after company kickoff, since they already have people somewhere. So just some perspective from the planner side. They want to bring it back, and we did gift cards so that if people wanted to travel, they could, or they could drive, they could fly, whatever they wanted. But we just tried to really embrace the various people's comfort level, but we knew that we still had to acknowledge them instead of just cancel the program and kind of give everyone the finger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have one more question for the destinations before we switch gears a bit. How can we help you? Knowing that no one's going to your country right now, how can we support you as a group? Is it sending virtual events your way? Is it helping for 2021 conversations? Is it doing more, virtual experiences that help draw attention to your location, pitching you to people? What would be supportive of you?
Alice.
Well, I think if I can jump in and say all of the above, anything that's going to keep each company and the people that are in it, front of mind, I think that would be a great help, because to have that FaceTime or Zoom time or any kind of time at all, just to, say, hey, I'm still here. This is what we're doing and we're standing by.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
maybe
confidence.
something, and maybe something that they maybe just let them know that we truly work very hard, all DMCs around the world, all the companies, to make them comfortable, safe, and making sure that when they will be start to travel, everything will be ready to welcome them in the new, taking into consideration the new health and safety rules. Absolutely.
Confidence, yeah. Anything that you can do to give confidence to the guests that traveling is safe, that coming is safe, and it is going to be a beautiful, full experience, even under these circumstances, that would be certainly helpful.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, well, I want to switch gears a bit and talk about the in-person events that have been happening and some of the awesomeness that has come from them, and then some lessons learned. So I know that there are some groups that are trying small gatherings, and I saw, Katie, you put in the chat that 250 people are permitted in Vegas. I know there was a recent event in Colorado. Is that where Smart Meetings was, at the Broadmoor? And then there was an Orlando event this week, and I think something happened in Vegas this week too, or a week or two ago. So anyone who's been to in-person, let's start with what was great about it.
I can jump in here. It was awesome just getting on a plane, realizing how much packing is a muscle and how terrible I am at it now. But I was still getting to do it, so I just didn't care. But just getting out and being places was really, really, really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I'm actually sitting in the airport, coming back from Connect. And so, Smart Meetings was at Broadmoor last week. We were at Orlando Marriott World Center, and I stayed over for a site visit last night. But, the airport, like, I don't have anybody around me right now, but I can even show you guys the airport. But for us, we've started to do some small meetings as Owl High. But I think what's interesting is, you have this impression of, what it's going to be like, but until you really travel and experience it, you don't really know, because you see photos, and photos are so misleading. Videos can be so misleading. So you have to kind of experience what works and what doesn't work in real life. And that's, as a planner, I'm the planner for Out High, but making sure that we're going out and seeing all of our different destinations. So I'm sorry about the airport noise, but I'm also not, because I'm so glad that we're out traveling.
Love it.
So
It's so reassuring. I want to hear them announce something else.
Yeah, right. I know, like 40 now. So, but you know, I've been flying Delta mainly. That's really been my only airline since all this started. And I've been traveling since the end of, my first trip was in May. And so I started traveling pretty early on in this, and Delta's done an incredible job. I mean, they board from the back of the plane, which is like a really simple adjustment just so that you're not passing like as many people. And there's a lot of good things going on as we innovate within these protocols. So
yeah, that's great. Thank you, Katie. Anyone else who's traveled or been in person lately?
Hi, this is Phyllis in Arizona. I had an event, a live event last week, a small group, 16 people here in Scottsdale. And it just made me so impressed and proud to be part of this community of people who are doing whatever it takes to make the attendees feel comfortable. So everyone wore their mask, there was hand sanitizer everywhere, everyone kept social distance. The attendees, not so much. They were masks off and talking and mingling and having fun, which is good, but it just made me so happy. And it was a full program, and we had 2 evening events. They did an activity they went on a cattle drive with a cookout lunch. And so a lot of it was outside. So that, of course, made everyone feel more comfortable. And we can do here, we're just now getting to nice weather. So outside is going to be perfect for us.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I've heard a lot of this from, and I've witnessed it ourselves. We have a concert venue, which of course is not doing any concerts at all right now. But we did do an outdoor concert. And when was that, Nicole? May, maybe? That was the first attempt, not the drive-in, but the in-person one. And yeah, the whole, yes, all the staff is wearing masks. Yes, all the bartenders, everybody is all masked up. But then once the consumers, once the public get in, if they stayed in their groups, they remove masks. But getting them to keep their masks on, even in the bar line, was a very interesting, it's like, you're not with your group anymore. And yes, you're 6 feet apart, but that's like, how has anybody figured out enforcement? I heard a great story from Christy Casey Sanders that I will share, but I'd like to hear from anyone else.
I can talk to, oh yeah, go ahead, Dave. I'll jump in after you.
Katie.
Dave, you're first.
Well, so, and actually one of the other things I missed. Okay. One of the other things that I'm really enjoying is, so I actually met Katie at Connect. We went to a dinner and we ended up sitting next to each other. And we had a great conversation. I would say probably the biggest asterisk or cautionary zone is bars and lines and things of that nature, because that's one of the things that started showing up was pictures of the reception from Connect. I think one of the things of the self-service model of people going to go stand in line at a bar, I just don't know if it's there, if we need to keep it where people stay stationary and drinks get brought to them, which may increase service levels, but it will provide a higher level of safety, because basically what I was seeing is someone would get a drink, take their mask off, and then meander. And then they're just walking around with their drink with no mask on. And you're kind of undoing everything you're trying to accomplish. And it sounds like the group in Arizona kind of experienced that as well. And that's kind of been the one big thing that people are talking about, and why bars are still closed is, one, you're eating and drinking, so you can take it off. But two, alcohol drops inhibitions, right? And you don't do all the things you're supposed to do. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. And I think, my perspective, you talk about enforcement, like there's so much about shared responsibility. And so as an event organizer, like making sure that everyone that's coming to your event is committed to following those same protocols, because it's one thing to have somebody that walks around and reminds you, hey, remember where your mask is. And as long as everybody said, hey, we're going to do this, but you have to get everybody to buy in to follow that code of conduct or the duty of care, or and I think that that's the biggest part, because a venue is going to create a space where they say you have to have distance. We're going to have enough stations that everybody can do this in the right way. The event organizer is going to say, we've designed a program where this has all this. The furniture company is going to get set up correctly. But if somebody sits down and starts dragging furniture over, now you've lost that entire environment. Yes. So, and it's a change of literally what we're conditioned to do. So, I have so much, we're so like ingrained in a style of approach for events that you're really rewiring the learning. And so in my experience, it's really not people not wanting to be compliant, although I know that exists out there, but they're just so hardwired and we default. So you have to help them along. You have to create those spaces. You have to have it all committed. So I think that shared responsibility is so important as we talk about bringing meetings back. The people that are coming to meetings need to be all in that. So I think that's a huge part of it.
I do want to specify one thing that was good, I think, is that in their private event space, this group could take their masks off if they wanted to. It was the group's choice of whether they were going to enforce masks in their private space. As soon as they walked into a public space at the hotel, they were required to wear a mask, and we had people there reminding them as soon as they left the space, even to go to the restroom or anything, they had to put their mask back on. And it was, everybody complied, it was fine. And one of the evenings they had a high-end speaker who did a fireside chat, and his demand was that during the fireside chat, other than he and the moderator, everyone else in the room was wearing their mask. The only time they could take their mask off is there was a Q&A session. And so when they had their microphone, I did see them pull their mask down, talk in the microphone, and pull it back up. But it seemed, for the most part, other than when they were with themselves, and they followed all the protocols and without any complaints.
That's great. We heard of what Christy was telling us was an event in Europe where they hired actors dressed as referees with yellow cards and red cards. So they could hand out a yellow card for warnings. And if you got 3 yellows, then it was a red and you were kicked out of the event. But the benefit to the participants was if you're a salesperson with a potential customer, if you don't have that, you can't tell the customer, put your mask on because now you're all weird. But if you do tell the customer, hey, that yellow card guy's headed our way, then it's a safer environment to do that self-policing without feeling like you're losing the conversation in any way. And I thought that was pretty brilliant.
Here in Turkey, the government's been quite good in sort of enforcing that shared responsibility. The way they posed it, and it's not for events only, but more like for cinemas and theaters, for example. The only way these places will open is if you comply. If you want to have a social life, if you want to have sporting events, as long as everybody complies, you can have these. And if we have too many red flags coming out, we will close them. So it's been very black and white. And I think everybody's just so dying to have these kinds of access. So I think in the business event, that's sort of what the smaller events that we've hosted, that's what the corporations have been communicating. We know you really want it, and the only way we will is if everybody complies. And I think people yearn to get out of the house to have these. So I think that positive spin has been really good, and so far it's worked in for a lot of venues in Turkey. But again, somebody wrote in the chat that it's become a political issue. That's not the case in Turkey, so it's a simpler feat, of course.
One of the things they did at Smart Meetings, they had a PC name tag makes, or they're partnered with someone, and I think there's a couple other people that make devices that people can wear. And if you get within a certain distance of someone else wearing it, it sends an alert. So the ones they used at Smart Meetings were from PC name tag, and at 6 feet, it would vibrate on your wrist. And then if you got within 3 feet, it would not only vibrate, it would beep. Mm-hmm. So it was a more passive way. It wasn't necessarily mask enforcement, but it was really kind of distance enforcement. But everyone was supposed to wear them. It was one more attempt at kind of reminding people that, they also did all their meetings outside. So even the vendor appointments were outside. So they really did a great job. But there is some tech out there coming out that's trying to help with that as well.
Well, Lisa Carroll with Proxfinity, she came on the Secret Family trip. They initially had like smart name badges for networking, but because the technology existed, they transformed it to be that proximity alert and contact tracing, which I think is really interesting because now you know which ones were in proximity of each other.
Yeah, and that's a step smarter than the PC name tag ones. They were just like kind of let's call it a dumb brick because it wasn't tied to your registration or anything. Everyone said, oh, if this was in name badges, this would be way better, because then you have contact tracing. So yeah, that's great.
So I am interested from the brand side, the planner side, what has changed from April till now on the virtual events that you guys have been creating? Have you noticed a difference from what you were pushing out there in April to what you're creating now? It doesn't have to be from the brand side, from anybody who's doing virtual events. Have you changed them in any way?
I know salespeople are way more into it now.
Yeah.
There was like, we put out Icebreaker in April and nobody bit. We did 3 of them 2 weeks ago and everyone was like, oh my God, why haven't we been doing this?
So
You suck.
Because the sales guys are desperate.
So we've amped up. I mean, this was something we never did before, was virtual. And so some things that we're encountering that I find interesting that we would have never encountered before is something that one of my colleagues just operated, was a pumpkin carving that became an engagement for one of her top clients. And I just found it, we would have never sold that except for like an event where children were included. And here we were, and I think about 75 people attended, and we sent out pumpkin. The only thing that people had to do is buy their own pumpkin and clean them out. And then they sent them kits and templates. And so everyone did a pumpkin carving, and the carvers dressed up in, like Halloween costumes, like witches. But what I'm saying is that would have never, pre-COVID, that would have never been something we offered. But so now it's interesting how we've never thought about, we didn't really do holiday parties or anything like that. And now that's something that is now in our realm of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we do like a lot of those kinds of, we call them amuse-bouche adventures, right? Which kind of is a version of UHs that we've done with some of the destinations, or all of the destinations here. And even just theming them out, like people are like, what do you have on deck for the holidays? And so we're like, oh, okay, great. So we, gather a bunch of things, and yeah, it's fun to, provide those things and just do other stuff that normally you would have been like, I'm not going to a pumpkin carving, but to be able to do, you're like, actually, that sounds really great.
Yeah. People just looking for that connection.
Well, we combined it with like drinking alcohol. Like I think there was a pumpkin spice martini made in there, so it was all for fun. So.
It's funny, we've seen more and more requests on the ones that aren't alcohol, because now everyone has drunk themselves into oblivion over 8 months. So now we're doing more coffee tastings and tea tastings and adventures that maybe aren't. I see Megan as she sips her red wine. Don't worry, she's in Europe.
And everybody is very desperate for outdoors and new scenes. So anything virtual, from different scenery or doing fun activities, we've learned a ton all these months. We've learned that you have to keep it, quick and agile, and people get bored. They're just sitting in front of their computers. So we've done skiing, we've done kayaking, we've done a million things. And I don't know, we learn what's fun and what's not so much fun, but it's been great.
Any others? Okay, well, I want to go back to the in-person, and now we talked about some of the things that were great and some good things that happened. What are some learnings that you guys have seen? So I don't know if Katie's still on. I know she was at the airport, but Dave, some of the things that we talked about enforcement. Was there anything else that, as we're trying to put together these small person events, we need to look out for?
Well, I think I think enforcement is one of those conversations that needs to be had from like the point of registration, so that people understand what is expected of them, what behavior is expected of them, and what will be enforced and asked of them on site. Because you are going to have a percentage of non-compliant people, depending on, for various reasons, they're drunk, they forget, whatever. And some people are easy, and some people will say, in the US, it's America, whatever. And whatever it is, but there's going to be a percentage. And depending on the size of your event, that percentage is manageable or not. I saw pictures floating around on social media of the Connect reception, and this kind of actually makes me think about a discussion I think we could have. The opening reception was supposed to be outside. It was supposed to be like poolside, outdoors, people could have distance, et cetera, et cetera. They moved it indoors. And when they moved it indoors, they moved it inside to a probably 10-foot ceiling space. People started filing in. Masks were coming off, and when people would get their drinks, they'd stay off because they just keep drinking. They were mingling. I started to get warm, which meant there was low airflow. There's pictures all over social media now. There was well over 500 plus people there. And I was like, this is like going to turn into a bad situation. I got to get out of here. So I left. But there was, people were eating or drinking, so it was their excuse to take their mask off. The other thing is, with the low ceilings, voices got louder, it got noisier, it got tougher to hear. It's already tough to hear with masks on. People were leaning in. It was just like a circling the drain. So my kind of question is, if you end up in a situation like that, or your reception due to inclement weather is going to come inside, who, obviously it's a partnership between the venue and the planner, but kind of like, my CMO always jokes about having one throat to choke as like a point of contact. And who's the responsible person there when it comes to moving that inside? I mean, they had trade show floor they could have used. They had our appointment meeting rooms they could have used. They had, which had 40-foot ceilings and much more ventilation and airflow and whatnot. Planner, venue, it kind of like, where does that fall?
Yeah. Well, and I guess the planner has to have the foresight to book the space in the event of inclement weather. So it makes the overall budget go up because now you've booked a space just in case. Or when you're booking space originally, you plan on the multi-use room, that this will be, not only will it be keynote room, it will also be rollover room.
Yeah, it brought up a really like interesting thing, because if the venue's like, well, we're going to move you here, and they go, okay, then it's kind of, because the venue knows their space best and they know what their guidelines are.
Right.
An event in Florida, while I would do my best to know what the guidelines are there and CDC guidelines, they might have different guidelines there. And I would kind of want my venue to be my local expert at the same time.
So that brings up a good question. Where is everyone getting their current guidelines from? Does your city reach out to you? Do you have to keep tabs on your state and city? How do you know what's current?
Well, there is different areas. I mean, we have the general government, we have suppliers like hotels, caterers, transportation company, and everyone is trying to align on what is the most common sense and the most common rule, the safety rules. So there is the information that we get are multiple, not only from one side.
Yeah. Do they ever conflict?
Sometimes. Yeah, especially from country to country. Yeah.
The key for us, at least, has been matching the international standards that are expected by the international clients and matching them or upping the local ones in order for our local ones to cover and match the international ones.
Yeah.
That has been
the trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our case, as every region and every city has different restrictions, that's true. Like, we need to recap everything and put everything together because it's completely different. The guidelines and the measures that they have in Madrid in comparison with Barcelona, with Seville. So they are still COVID measures to protect the events, but they are completely different in terms of percent of reduction in the meeting rooms and everything. So it takes us time. This is something that unfortunately we have now since March. So we had to recap all the information. Basically, it came from the convention bureaus from each city that they centralized. In our case, in Spain, they were very well prepared in terms of getting all the information from the government.
Okay. So Megan, you're in tourist mode over in Croatia right now. Where did you get information about how you can move around and your experience getting there and being there?
From the US Embassy site, basically just kept tabs on that. And then in the week leading up to it, kept tabs on, the level of cases and if anything had changed. I truly didn't believe I was leaving until the night before. I mean, honestly, like I knew that there was a chance that something could happen and that I would end up. False positive was here because I had to come with a negative test. So Croatia, their rule is negative test within 48 hours from test to landing. And if you don't have that, they'll let you in the country still, but you're expected to quarantine and then get tested while you're here. So, so anyway, so it all worked out. And then in terms of, just, it's not tourist season, right? So it's not as busy, but in the capital, I was in Zagreb for 2 days. Like probably 2/3 of the people were wearing masks just walking around. Here in Zadar, they're only wearing masks when they have to, like inside places. So I'm still being careful and stuff, but yeah, it's something that I just had to keep track. And I understand that something might happen that I might have to stay, which would be okay.
Habib, I saw you joined us from Morocco. How are you guys getting your information? Is it coming from tourist bureaus or government, or how do you keep up to date?
First of all, hi everybody. Sorry for my late connection. I had issues with the internet here. Actually, we get information from the press every day. We have the daily count of the number of cases and number of deaths and everything. So, all these online press is always sending emails at 6 p.m. every day. So everybody's waiting for the 6 p.m. number. Unfortunately, it's still increasing. Fortunately, it's not increasing like in Europe. So we're keeping the numbers at a more reasonable level. And in terms of restrictions and everything, I mean, again, the whole press is on that. So every time a new thing comes out, it's right away on the online journals, etc. So that's where we get our information right now. There's a real willingness to open up and to drive a bit of tourism, especially for Marrakesh. So basically now they need still the PCR test for 72 hours, and that's pretty much it to get in the country. And I've heard that they're working on a quick test that they would take on arrival, so that it will also ease a little bit more the tourism, the incoming tourism on that side.
Okay.
And all the hotels are opening up again, and they're doing a lot of promotions and all the things around that to say, okay, let's get back to work and hope that we keep this under control and we'll live with it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I know we are coming up on time, but just a quick reminder that we created these unrestricted hotnesses to site visit for our Secret Family 2021. So we still have plans to pick a location from all of these incredible experiences and go somewhere amazing at the end of next year, because my new marketing campaign is 2021 is greater than 2020. And we're going to be awesome.
Yes.
Nicole, any final words?
No, thank you so much. This was so cool. What did you guys think about just even being able to hear from each other? I feel like having you all in one place is like we're at a big family table. I love it. But was this helpful for you guys? What did you think?
Loved it.
Yay, fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So great to see everybody.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great fun. Thank you.
Quite
Thank you
reassuring,
so much.
actually, to see that everybody's in the same boat here. So
Yeah.
Well, stay positive. We love you all. We want to come see you all. We're going to just get our own plane and travel everywhere next year.
We'll come wherever first that has a plane that will come pick us up.
we have a plane ready already, so
Sweet. Habib, I'll be at the airport. You just tell me when it's going to show up. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Bye bye. Thank you for everything.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Safe.
everyone.
Bye
Enjoy.
bye.
Bye.
Happy Friday.